everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We're going to give it a couple of seconds to let people filter in. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. And we're going to get started on time because I know we have a lot of great information ahead of us tonight. So again, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's resource refresher, Meet the Fantastic Faces of Programs. So my name is Dao Duong, and I am the Senior Manager of Community Programs here at the Tourette Association of America. I'm also joined by my program team members tonight who will be introducing themselves momentarily. Tonight's event is being provided as part of the Tourette Health and Education Program in partnership with the CDC. The views expressed by speakers and moderators tonight do not necessarily reflect the official policies of the Department of Health and Human Services, nor does the mention of trade names, commercial practices, or organizations imply endorsement by the U.S. government. So after tonight's presentation, we will be asking attendees to partake in a brief survey to let us know what you thought of tonight's program. Tonight's session is made possible by support from the CDC. So not only is your feedback very important to us, but also demonstrates to the CDC the value of programming like tonight. So a few housekeeping items before we get started. Please go ahead and remember to put your questions into the Q&A so we can capture those questions for later tonight. All right, thank you so much. We're going to get started with introductions. So I'm going to go ahead and actually stop sharing my screen so we can see all of our wonderful faces here. And I'm going to go ahead and go first. Maybe I know I kind of introduced myself already, but I'll do it here. Again, my name is Dao Duong. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm the Senior Manager of Community Programs here at the TAA. I'll pass it on off to Wendy.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Wendy Wegman. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm the Senior Director of Programs here at the Tourette Association. I will pass it to the next person on my square, which is Alexandra.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alexandra Walsh. I go by she, her pronouns, and I am the Manager of Programs here at the TAA. And I will pass it over to Chantel.
Good evening, everyone. I am Chantel Campbell. I also go by she, her pronouns, and I currently serve as the Manager for Scientific and Medical Affairs here at TAA. I will pass it to Haley.
Hi, y'all. My name is Haley Carlton. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Youth and Education Programs Coordinator here at the Tourette Association. I will pass it to Yvette. So sorry.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yvette Diagier. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm the Manager of Youth and Education at the Tourette Association of America. So glad to be here.
Yes, hi there. My name is Jason Kaplan. I am the National Manager of Information and Referral Services here at the Tourette Association, and I go by he, him pronouns. Sorry to shock y'all.
Great. Thanks, everyone. These are the fantastic faces of programs, so you'll get to hear from each of us individually as we go through tonight's presentation. So thank you for the introductions. I'm going to go ahead and reshare the PowerPoint. All right. Very cool. We're going to get started. So next up, I'm going to quickly go over the mission. Again, I know this may be familiar to some of you, but of course, the mission here at the Tourette Association of America is dedicated to making life better for all people affected by Tourette syndrome and tic disorders through efforts that raise awareness, advance research and understanding, and provide support. So the three pillars you see, excuse me, frog in my throat, excuse me. The three pillars that you see here, awareness, research, and support, are the three main pillars of the TAA. And through these, we actually provide community with many different kinds of resources. So for example, through awareness, we have social media, public relations, and news placement, as well as our youth ambassadors, junior youth ambassadors, and rising leaders located all across the country to raise awareness of Tourette syndrome. This is also done through advocacy and lobby on Capitol Hill for continued funding. When it comes to research, TA provides grants and fellowships to both young investigators and other professionals that the TAA can help advance research and support clinical trials on Tourette syndrome. Behavioral training institutes, and as well as other resources, trains professionals in CBIT. So once you're trained, for example, you are listed on a provider referral listing on our website for patients. And then lastly, but not least, support, right? The TAA has a network of over 80 chapters and support groups across the country that provide support at the state level for their communities. In addition to this, programs at the TAA, such as online support groups, our virtual programs, our conference, and in-person presentations, we provide additional support to our constituents as well. Wanted to quickly go over what is the CDC Tourette Health and Education Program, because I know some of you may not be familiar with that. So really, it's a partnership with the TAA and the CDC, where we work together to deliver health education programs and awareness on Tourette syndrome and tic disorders. We're actually currently in our 21st year of partnership with them, which is amazing, right? And our 3 overarching goals with this partnership are listed below, as you can see on your screen here, with one being improving access to evidence-based information, support, and services for people with TS and their families and communities. Secondly, strengthening the capacity of healthcare providers to appropriately diagnose and provide evidence-based treatments for persons with TS. And thirdly, strengthen the capacity of education professionals to implement evidence-based strategies to support and facilitate success among children and youth with TS. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to Jason, who is going to talk about our information and referral services. Go ahead, Jason.
Thank you so much, Dow. Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Jason Kaplan, and I am the manager of information and referral services. Now, what is information and referral, and what do we do? So that's what I'm here to explain. Our primary function is to field and triage any incoming communications that come from anywhere in the United States and the world, for that matter, from people related to just all things Tourette syndrome, tic disorders, and co-occurring conditions such as anxiety, ADHD, OCD, and ADD, and many others. When people get in touch with me, no matter how it is, what our main job is to do when people are getting in touch with us in a very distressed manner is we provide a comforting voice of understanding. And it's I believe it's one of the main things to make sure that we're connecting with our constituents, such as yourselves. People have called me on the phone very distressed. And by the end of the 20-minute phone call, they say, wow, I feel a whole lot better. So in between on that phone call, what I do is I give them options, and I work with these other fine people that are on the panel tonight to provide resources that will just get you going in understanding Tourette's and give you a starting point on your Tourette journey or your child's Tourette journey. So leading into bullet point 2, the biggest thing I do is provide resources such as our toolkits, people who are looking for Tourette specialists, like our provider listings, and other things like links to recorded webinars that we've done in the past, which talk about certain subjects that people ask about. So these are very I think our YouTube channel is a very powerful source of information, as well as many other things that we have. And there's also program and event information, upcoming programs, upcoming events, and some of the things that I do also on the back end is I take the pulse of the constituent community and try to help. I take that information, I try to help inform on new program possibilities and needs for the community, as well as look at existing things that we have and maybe, hey, let's do a 2.0 version of that. So improving on existing ones as well. So just because I talk to people doesn't mean I forget them. This information is very important to have so that we could think about our community and then create the needs that everybody, create things that people need. And then when we can't answer your question or when I can't answer it, what I'll do is I have a lot of resources at my fingertips that provide you to third-party resources that are external, out of the TAA, which have been seen to consistently help people when we particularly can't help you as an organization. So those things can consist of other medical other medical resources, legal resources, or other human service organizations. For example, 211.org, which is part of the United Way. So they provide other resources that we cannot. And when people are looking for just local support, one of my things is just to simply introduce people to our local chapters and support groups all over the country. Right now, we're in 27 states. We either have at least a support group or a full-blown chapter. And these are people you can connect with who have definitely been through what you've been through and can definitely answer questions for you on a local level. As a matter of people who we serve, most of the folks that we serve are parents who have kids with Tourette's or are perhaps wondering about if their child has Tourette's and they're seeking a diagnosis. Another large group we serve are adults that have either been diagnosed or looking to be diagnosed. They've lived a very long life with it. I myself have Tourette's. I have had it for over 40 years. I was diagnosed back in the late 1970s. So people like to hear that when they first call me. So I kind of use that as a, you can talk to me, I understand, and I've been through it kind of that. And that's how I'm able to do, able to help comfort people while I talk to them. And another huge thing that happens during the school year, not least of which are the folks who are on this panel, educators and people looking for resources for their kids in school. This is a major inquiry that I get like all the way through it to April, like from August through April. It's one of the top things I get. We can't hide the fact that ticks themselves are disruptive, but there's a huge lack of knowledge out there in schools, and we got a great team here that works with me to make sure they are reaching out to you in order to make sure that your students, your kids, and the students that the educators serve are succeeding. So, next slide, please. So how do people get in touch? Or how would you get in touch? Email is definitely the top way people get in touch with us. We have a little chat window on Tourette.org. We have a phone number that I usually, I can answer that phone and talk to you. And then on our website, we have a contact us form submission. So you could submit that and it goes to a place where I see all those submissions. And I'm usually managing all 4 of these channels. So if anybody's wants to take notes right now, the best email, if you want to just make that first reach out, is support@tourette.org. And if you wanted to give us a call, the phone numbers are there. Easy way to put it, the 800 number for Tourette with 1 T. It's the best way to do it. And if you ask for Jason, which I am the only Jason who works here, or my extension is also 236. So that's how you can get in contact with me directly. If you're on Tourette.org, there's the URL just to make a note of right there. And if you wanted to just maybe throw a quick question my way with the chat bot or something like that, it's on the lower right corner of any page on Tourette.org. So that's a way to do that as well. And as I am the manager of information referral, there is someone not on the call today, or the webinar tonight, who is not with us. Her name is Elizabeth Barker, and she is the director of all affiliates and chapters around the country, and including Puerto Rico as well. And as I said before, we currently have a chapter or support group in 27 states, and we do have one in Puerto Rico. So we are spreading, we do spread quite a ways, but we're certainly looking to spread some more. It'd be nice if we had one in all 50 states. But if there's anybody out there that maybe wants to start a chapter or support group, or volunteer your time with the Tourette Association, you contact Elizabeth Barker, who is the director again of Affiliate and Volunteer Services and Information and Referral, and her information is listed right below there. And her extension is same number, 1-800-4-Tourette, but her extension is 213. And that in itself, as they say, is that for an information and referral. There's a lot more to it, but I'm not going to monopolize the floor. I am going to now pass it on to my next colleague.
Thanks, Jason. Thank you so much for that overview. And again, if you have any specific questions about information and referral, go ahead and put those into the Q&A. So the next few slides, I'm actually going to talk about our resources and the resource development. And to reiterate, through that cooperative agreement with the CDC, the TAA has been able to create many wonderful educational resources on Tourette syndrome, which you see here. They range from toolkits for providers, educators, patients, law enforcement, children, and young adults. And we'll go through a few of them, not all of them today, but we'll go through a few of them so you can get a better understanding of what each toolkit provides. Okay. So the first one I'm going to go through is the Living with Tourette and Tic Disorders, a guide for patients and families. So this one, it's really meant to serve as a starting point for patients and families. It provides that overview of tics, Tourette syndrome, and other tic disorders, addressing several areas of living with these conditions. Since TS and tic disorders may present and impact each person differently, right? You can use the information in this kit as it pertains to your needs or that of your family member. So this one's a really good one, especially for those that are newly diagnosed with TS. And you can also request this too when you reach out to support at Tourette. The next toolkit we have up here is the Children's Guide. This toolkit, designed for maybe a 7 to 12-year-olds, helps children to explain TS to their peers, friends, and family. And it's really appropriate for kindergarten and even elementary school students, and can be helpful to share with the classroom, right, to help other kids understand TS as well. And there's also a removable activity page in this toolkit. The next toolkit that we have here is the Young Adult Guide. And this one's intended to be a resource for young adults who are learning to navigate life with Tourette syndrome. Many people mistakenly think of TS as like a childhood disorder, but it's important to remember and understand that TS affects people of all ages. So being a teenager and entering adulthood presents new challenges and opportunities. And so there's so many life transitions and much to learn and consider when living with TS. And so this guide is the reference to kind of support individuals with those life experiences they may encounter. So in this toolkit, you'll find information on a variety of helpful topics, including the basics of TS and co-occurring conditions, potential treatment options, transitioning to high school, college, and the workplace, social skills and dating, stress management, and frequently asked questions as well, which young adults might have regarding life with TS. Our next toolkit here is our Emotional Overload Understanding Non-Tic Related Behaviors toolkit. So as we most know, most individuals with Tourette syndrome have at least one co-occurring condition, such as ADHD, anxiety, OCD, etc., which contributes to difficulties, right, with managing stressful and overwhelming situations at times. So this guide is really helpful in talking about how to discuss emotional overload in children with TS, self-regulation strategies, and how to manage challenging behaviors, and much more. Okay. The next toolkit here is our Care Provider's Guide to Diagnosis, Treatment, and Support. Providers may have learned about Tourette syndrome and other tic disorders in their professional training. However, TS and tic disorders are still misunderstood among many healthcare professionals, so which can lead to a delay in individuals receiving appropriate care. So this guide is meant to really equip healthcare providers with the necessary information to recognize TS and other persistent tic disorders in their practice, so they can provide accurate diagnoses, referrals, recommend appropriate treatments, and guide their patients to the proper avenues for resources and support. Okay. The next toolkit that we have is our Educator's Guide to Planning and Support. This toolkit is designed to assist educators and support staff in recognizing complex symptoms and serve as a guide towards developing effective support plans to allow children with TS and tic disorders to thrive both socially and academically. So this one's really good. It provides resources to teachers, administrators, counselors, school psychologists, speech and occupational therapists, even consultant resource teachers, the whole gambit, including school nurses, college professors, and other support persons to help really understand and support children with TS and tic disorders. Okay. And so I wanted to quickly go over to, in addition to those resources and toolkits that I just went over, we also offer a lot of family and community virtual programming. And here's just a quick list of several examples of virtual programs that we've hosted within the last few months or so. And you may actually see these recordings through our TAA YouTube page, which I've also linked up above. It's our YouTube page at Tourette TV. And again, these virtual programs are offered for families and communities, teens, young adults, parents, providers, and educators, right? So it's really meant to support the community's needs. And you'll see here several topics, including like emotional regulation. We've done 2 of 3-part series of medical students living with TS, for example. We had one on anxiety, service dogs, right? Co-recurring conditions such as OCD. We even had one a few months ago on financial finesse and traveling with TS. So you'll find these topics and many more on our YouTube page. Okay. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Alexandra, next to talk about our online support groups.
Hi again, everybody. Happy to share a little bit with you guys about our online support groups. So our support groups are open to everyone, but especially designed for individuals who may be in underserved areas with limited access to resources and support. These groups especially are really great because they occur in the evening. So we make sure that everybody across the nation that is part of the community gets a chance to come and attend them. Right now, the groups host 15 to 20 people for 2 times a month. They meet for 90-minute sessions. We have 7 groups total, 3 for young adults and 4 for parents currently. And our cohorts for these groups run 3 times a year, which are noted down here from September to November, January to March, and May to July. You'll also see below that you can click that link for more information. Our young adult groups are primarily for 18 to 25 and parents of any age.
Thanks, Alexandra, for that overview. And again, if you have specific questions about that, go ahead and put that into the Q&A. We'll be happy to answer those. All right. Next up, we have our school education programs. I think I'll turn over to Yvette.
Hi, everyone. So glad to be here. So as you can see on this slide, we do offer a variety of education programs to help support school personnel, families. The main reason for this is that we know that it can be really complicated to navigate, the school system and just life having TS, or Tourette syndrome. So myself also having Tourette syndrome, I love whenever I get these requests from Jason because I'm able to point people in the right directions and offer support. And some of this support includes connecting them with volunteers that do in-person presentations. We also have virtual presentations. And for educators, we offer a free online video series you can get CEUs for. And this really helps give other professionals the tools they need to help support children with TS. And I just wanted to add too, for families contacting us, while it could be school related, we have people contact us about, 504 plans, IEPs, etc. We also are happy to take any questions about, connecting with providers, things like that. We're really there to guide you every step of the way. So please feel free to reach out at programs@tourette.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Yvette. All right, next up, we have our Youth Ambassador Rising Leader program. Haley?
Yes, thank you, Dal. So, as I mentioned, or for those of you that joined a little bit later, my name is Haley Carlton and I coordinate our youth and education programs here at the TAA. And like Jason and Yvette, I also have Tourette syndrome. Part of what I do includes both virtual and in-person programming for youth, teens, and young adults in the Tourette syndrome and the tic disorder community. This can include webinars, our Teen Summit event, mingles, and more. Notably, some of our most popular programs include our ambassador programs, which you see on screen. These consist of our Youth Ambassador program for ages 12 to 17, our Rising Leader program for ages 18 to 25, and our Junior Youth Ambassador program for ages 7 to 11. So, what are these programs? Well, these programs train youth, teens, and young adults to be ambassadors for the Tourette Association of America and advocates for the Tourette and tic disorder community. We recently just accepted our new candidates for these programs, and they will be training in March of 2025 in Washington, D.C. In addition to being trained ambassadors, these individuals will also have the opportunity to participate in National Advocacy Day, where all attendees, regardless of ambassador status, will meet with their local elected officials on Capitol Hill to advocate for Tourette syndrome and tic disorders. As a brief overview, youth ambassadors, like I said, which are between the ages of 12 and 17, they learn to give TAA peer-to-peer community presentations to their local communities. Rising leaders between the ages of 18 and 25 gain leadership skills as well as improve personal and professional development, all while understanding the importance of disclosure, understanding co-occurring conditions, and more. And then our junior youth ambassadors range from 7 to 11. They focus on learning more about their Tourette syndrome and building self-advocacy skills. You can go to the next slide. So aside from our in-person training, we also host monthly virtual programs for all youth or teens in the Tourette syndrome and tic disorder community. You'll find these programs on our website by visiting the events page linked on the screen. You'll see here also some examples of webinars we've hosted for the community, including teens and young adults, such as Getting It Together, a neurodivergent teen's guide to harnessing executive function, presented by one of our very own youth ambassadors, and Oh Hi Anxiety, Skills for Noticing and Navigating Your Inner Advisor, which I had the pleasure of co-facilitating with one of our medical advisory board members. And webinars for youth, including What Makes Me Me, Learning Positive Self-Talk and Affirmations, and Peer Power, Mastering the Art of Self-Advocacy Through Community Presentations, both presented by Junior Youth Ambassador parents. We do record our teen and young adult webinars and we upload them to our YouTube channel, as mentioned earlier. For our youth webinars, however, they are typically interactive, so we do not record them. And then our Teen Summit, which is an exciting event we host annually for teens in our community. This past year, our Teen Summit was held in person at our national conference, TicCon, along with lots of other programs and presentations for individuals of all ages. Our Teen Summit is an opportunity for teens with Tourette syndrome, tic disorders, or co-occurring conditions to come together, interact with one another, and learn from some of the experts in the TAA community. And in 2025, our Teen Summit will be held virtually over Zoom and available to all teens in the Tourette and tic disorder community. I'd also like to highlight our holiday mingles, which are coming up very soon. We'll be hosting a mingle for youth ages 5 to 11, and a mingle for teens ages 12 to 17, as well as an adult 18 and plus mingle. You can expect to play games and interact with each other, and for the kiddos, a winter story. Information and registration will be available soon on our events page. And then lastly, you'll see I've included an email address for you to send us any ideas you have for future programming. So anything you can think of or want us to bring to the Tourette and tic disorder community, please let us know by sending an email to programideas@tourette.org. And I can also put that link in the chat shortly. You can go to the next slide, Dale. Lastly, I would like to highlight some of our outstanding ambassadors. On the left, you'll see 2023 Youth Ambassador Chase Hevesy. Chase was recently announced as the recipient of our 2024 Youth Award, which she will be receiving in person at our annual gala in about a week, actually. We recognize Chase for our efforts to raise awareness and education for Tourette syndrome and tic disorders at a local and national level. She has given numerous presentations and webinars beginning at just 14 years old. She also won an award for an article she wrote for her school titled Tourette Syndrome Through Teenage Eyes, which was entered into the Pennsylvania Student Keynote Media Awards competition. On the right is 2024 Rising Leader Obed West. Just today, Obed was awarded by the Council for Exceptional Children for the 2025 Yes I Can Self-Advocacy Award. This award recognizes students who have demonstrated achievement that far exceeds expectations in a number of areas, such as using knowledge of legal rights, advocating for one's needs, and obtaining appropriate accommodations for themselves or others. Obed is also the co-facilitator for our African American and Black young adult support group, and he's a junior Olympian. Had to throw that in there. We at the TAA are very proud of Chase and Obed for their work with the Tourette syndrome and tic disorder community. Thank you.
Thanks, Haley, for that great information. All right, next up, we have Alexandra with adult programs.
Well, just going back to our amazing online support groups, the first thing we have in adult programming is our adult online support group. This support group is for those who are 26 years and older. It also occurs 3 times a year. The next cohort will start in January, and it is an amazing group we're very excited about. It will be its 3rd cohort coming up in January. The next thing I'll talk about with adult programming is that we have monthly adult programming. Past recent adult programming has included important topics such as chronic pain, sleep, and later in life diagnosis. We welcome you to check out our events page and check us out at our next adult program. The next thing that we have is our TA Lunch and Learns on Tourette syndrome and neurodiversity in the workplace. During our Lunch and Learns, TAA staff will work with your company or organization to learn more about Tourette syndrome, tic disorders, and their co-occurring conditions. If you're interested, please email us at programs@tourette.org. And last but not least, I will mention that our adult track is included at our virtual and in-person national conference, and it includes amazing presentations. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Alexandra. Thank you for that overview. All right, next up, we have Chantel, who's going to take it away with our medical and scientific programs. Chantel?
Thanks, Dow. Can you go to the next slide, please?
Yes, I can.
All right, so our Find a Provider list is a carefully curated directory of medical and mental health professionals, those who specialize in Tourette syndrome and tic disorders. The current functionality of the list allows folks to search providers by location, and it also has additional fields to narrow your search, such as clinical expertise and the number of miles you're willing to travel for access to a provider. This helps individuals and families find expert care that meets their needs. Our organization is committed to making this list as effective as possible, as user-friendly as possible, and so we will conduct regular updates to ensure that it includes providers with relevant expertise, those who are beneficial to the TS community. As displayed, the URL is on the screen, and it can also be found simply by doing a search on our website, tourette.org. The magnifying glass is usually in the top right-hand corner. And so feel free to search, find a provider there. And navigating the list may be a little bit of a challenge for some. So please feel free to reach out to either myself or Jason at support@tourette.org for assistance if needed. Next slide, please. Our Centers of Excellences, they are medical institutions that provide top-level care for Tourette syndrome and other tic disorders. They play a very important role in ensuring that those with TS have access to skilled care and support. And displayed on the screen are different services that they do provide. And further information can be obtained by contacting any centers directly. Information for centers can also be found on our website. And that too will also be updated frequently to ensure that we are providing the best resources possible to our community. I will now pass it on to Dow for the next slide. I think you're muted, Dow.
Thanks, Chantel. Thanks for that reminder. So I'm going to go over this slide real quickly because it's in regards to Tourette syndrome resources for medical providers and allied health professionals provided through the CDC. So we have a couple of great trainings for providers, including our medical grand rounds training and our intro to CBIT seminar video. And both of these training videos provide CEs for free through the CDC, CEs meaning continuing education unit. So for example, our medical grand rounds training is designed to increase the knowledge and change the competency and understanding of diagnostic criteria for TS and other tick disorders, and how do you assimilate these criteria into a provider's existing patient interview assessment process. And there's also another medical grand round training video on the overview of COPR phenomena and examples of impairment specific to COPR phenomena and strategies to accommodate these symptoms in a classroom/workplace environment. And then we also have another a seminar video available on an introduction to CBIT. And this one particularly describes and differentiates among the various tick disorders, but also describes the basic outline of the CBIT program, including the 3 main components of CBIT. And my colleague Chantel will delve a little bit more into CBIT in a bit. But this particular video, since it is an introductory video, it does identify resources provided by the TAA to support learners in performing their duties within the healthcare team. So go ahead and I put the link in the URL up above if you're interested in accessing those particular videos for providers and other allied health professionals, or we're happy to also put that link into the chat later as needed. All right, and next I'm going to go ahead and next slide. All right, back to Chantel.
Thanks, Dal. So as Dal mentioned, we do offer CBIT information, and in addition to that information, we offer CBIT training. And CBIT training is basically comprehensive behavioral intervention for ticks, which is a non-medicated treatment for those who are diagnosed with Tourette syndrome and tick disorders. The goal for this is to help individuals learn strategies to maintain and to reduce their tics by increasing awareness and practicing competing responses. Our trainings are for licensed clinicians, so they're not for parents, they're not for siblings or other family members, they are for licensed professionals to ensure that they are skilled in delivering this intervention. This type of training also expands the pool of our training providers, so that also improves the access to effective tick management for our TS community. And so once you complete that training, you'll be able to be added to our provider list that I mentioned earlier for the TS community to be able to access you. The trainings are typically 2 days in length, and it's usually held in person. And additional information can be found on our website under the Advancing Research and Therapy tab. And I can always provide additional information if you reach out to me by calling the Tourette office, and my extension is extension 207. You can also contact Jason, who also provided his information earlier for any additional information. Next slide, please. Here is our CBIT toolkit, similar to the toolkits Dal covered earlier, and this provides an introductory information about CBIT. This can also be downloaded on our website if you desire further information. Thank you.
Next up, we're going to have Alexandra speak about our national conference.
Thanks, Dal. So yes, we have a national conference that's held every single year, either in person or virtually. This past year, if we were lucky enough to have you join us, you may know that it was in Dallas, Texas. And this upcoming year, we will hold our conference virtually. Our conference has multiple tracks, so there's a little bit of something for everybody. Some of these tracks include family community focused programming, research focused programming, adult focused programming, youth and teen focused programming, and a bonus of socializing opportunities and more for those who attend. If you're unable to attend, or if you're also a licensed professional, we also give the opportunity for individuals to obtain CEU units. And currently right now we have 21 different presentations that are eligible for CEUs from our conference this past year in Dallas. And the link is here as well for you to access them.
Thanks, Alexandra. I'm going to punt it back over to Chantel to talk about the IFTS card.
Thanks, Dal. That was quick. I didn't realize it was up there. All right, so I have a TS card. Is a card that helps to explain the effects of TS and tic disorders. They are useful in high stressful situations, traveling in crowded places or being present in spaces outside of your norm for any reason, or even during traffic stops for those who are of driving age are just some examples. This card is also downloadable on our website, and so we encourage you to download and print out a couple of copies and keep them in various places for easy access because they are easy to lose. So we do encourage that. And so I'll hand it back over to them.
Chantal. All right, we are going to go ahead and wrap up sort of the content focused part of tonight's session, but here's different ways you can get into contact with us. So you've heard a lot of emails and a lot of kind of different ways to reach us. So again, for any general support, right, inquiries and requests for any educational materials, please contact support@tourette.org. Again, that's support@tourette.org. And if you want to stay connected with TAA and to receive information about all of these upcoming programs, then you can actually register yourself through that link, and I'll make sure to put that into the chat later so everyone can have access to that to stay up to date on what's happening with TAA. And of course, if you want to request an in-person or virtual program or training, please contact programs@tourette.org. Again, there's the phone number for you as well down below to get a hold of us that way. And of course, we're always seeking your ideas, your light bulb moments. And please go ahead and send that to programideas, plural, @tourette.org, and we'll be sure to incorporate that into our next future programming. All right. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and take it and just mention that we do have a lot of social media platforms that we're really active on: Facebook, Instagram. Well, I suppose it's not called Twitter anymore, maybe X at this time. And of course, our YouTube page and LinkedIn as well. So follow us on social. We'd love to see you there. All right. So before we head into the Q&A portion of tonight's program, I just want to make sure that we all had a chance for the audience to go ahead and answer a really brief survey after you've heard tonight's presentation. You've heard from many individuals here tonight. They're all amazing and very passionate about what they do here at the TAA, so we'd love to hear from you too. So go ahead and take out your phone and go ahead and scan that QR code really quickly, and I'll leave it up for a few more seconds here so everyone can get a chance to answer that survey. And I'm going to go and shimmy on over here to our Q&A. So it looks like our team's been answering a lot of questions in the Q&A, and so I hope folks have been finding that helpful. Does anyone else have any other questions? Because now is your time. Go ahead and put that into our Q&A. Any other questions? No, I don't see any panelists. Do you see any questions in the chat? No, I see. All right, well, if there's no other questions, we can make this short and sweet. And again, I'll continue to leave this QR code up for folks to answer that survey, but we really appreciate your time tonight and learning more about what the TA programs team can offer, and we're here for you. So thank you so much for attending, and a recording of this particular program will be available probably within the week on our YouTube channel. So go ahead and take a look at our YouTube channel when you can. So on behalf of the TAA, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Oh, sorry, we have a question here. One question popped in from Reed. Can I get Jason's first slide of information again from his part of the presentation? Jason, do you mind going ahead and we can get that over to Reed as well? All right. Any other questions? Last chance. Thank you so much for being here tonight with us. On behalf of the TAA, thank you so much. And I wish you all a good evening, a good rest of your week. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. And if someone stop the recording, stop now.